Howdy friends and welcome to the Dingwall channel. As always, my name is Brandon Michael, Dingwall artist and bass player for the band Allegaeon. And on today's edition of the Dingwall Academy, we're going to talk about arguably the most impressive technique on a stringed instrument, finger tapping. I'll also share a few exercises that you can do to improve your tapping skills later on in this video, but first, a brief history lesson. Finger tapping is another technique borrowed from our brothers and sisters in guitar land. It's debatable when exactly tapping was invented, but most guitar players agree it was sometime in the 1960s. Let's hear from a bass player who uses this technique extensively with his band Archspire. Please join me in welcoming Dingwall artist Jared Smith. For those out there who may not have heard of Archspire before, give us a little background about the band and kind of, what got you into the band, what got you into playing bass.
Archspire is a technical death metal band. We're all from Vancouver, Canada. I met these guys through, I was playing guitar in another band here, and when that band sort of fell apart, Dean hit me up and said, "Do you want to play bass in this band?" And I'd never played bass before.
When you were making the transition, you got the bass. Obviously, you made mention that it's a little bit larger. It took some getting used to. So did you have any exercises, rudiments, or anything that kind of got you conditioned to the different string tension, the different gauge of strings on bass?
What I might do is there was a riff from that song that I was working on for the audition. Just taking simple arpeggios like this. The diminished ones work really well because it's same in left hand and right hand, so you don't have to think about it too much. And I would just put a metronome on and I would have my metronome matching every single note I was trying to play, right? So that I wasn't swinging it or anything like that. Kind of keep everything as even and mechanical as possible while I was doing this until I kind of had the strength in all my fingers to do that. And then I got a compressor. And a compressor is really your best friend for this sort of thing.
Did you have anything to add, tip-wise, if somebody's trying to go into this technique? Maybe they're in a metal band and they're kind of getting to that point where they need to start keeping up with their guitar players.
Gear aside, the most important thing is that you can actually do it yourself without the gear, right? That compressor is should only be the last 10%, right? You should have if you're trying to do multi-finger, try and look at yourself and say, okay, do I have a weak finger? Am I going? Right? Is there something weak there? Okay, there's this finger is really weak, and so I need to kind of make sure that everything is hitting as evenly as possible before I kind of turn anything else on, because it can be a bit of a crutch when you've got that compressor and it, evens everything out a little too much.
A couple of tips before we get started. Low action will be your best friend on this one. Pressing too hard with your left hand can lead to sloppiness and injury. Also, hair ties or fret wraps can be used to improve the clarity of your notes by eliminating unwanted ringing. I'm predominantly using my index and my middle finger here, but you can choose to use your middle, your ring finger, even your pinky if you want to do multi-finger tapping. And you can utilize this in the same exercise. For now, I'm going to keep it with these two main fingers, as these will be our primary fingers through all the exercises covered in this video. So our first tapping exercise is going to be this minor shape. It's going to consist of 5 notes, and this shape can actually be played anywhere on the neck. I'm choosing to play it on the 8th fret right here, and on my E string as the starting point. So, first position is going to be the root. The second position is going to be the minor third. The third position is going to be the 5th. The fourth position is going to be the 8th, the octave of our root. And the last position is going to be our 11 up here. Now you'll notice I kind of outline my finger positions, and you can kind of do what you want, but what I've found, at least for the benefit of this exercise, is index on the left hand, index on the right hand, jump the index for the 3rd note, and middle finger for the 4th note here. And you can choose whichever finger is more comfortable for you. For me, it happens to be my index and my middle. Next, when we get to this last note here, our 11, we're going to want to use a strong finger here, and we're actually going to pull off and arpeggiate back down. So here's what that looks like nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117 Our second shape is very similar to the first one. However, this is going to have a major characteristic as opposed to the minor characteristic our first shape had. Same starting point on the neck, 8th fret, E string. But instead of hitting the minor third, we're going to hit the major third. And we're going to hit the major third on the same string, because though you can play it here, which is an option for you, for the sake of this exercise, we want to keep a very similar form to our first shape. So again, instead of the minor third, let's hit the major third, 1 fret up. Our 5th and our 8th are going to be exactly the same, so realistically you're only changing 2 notes here, and we'll get to that last note that we change in a second. Very, very slight change from our minor shape. All we're doing is basically lifting the 3rd and the 11th up a half step. Very, very simple shape, very, very useful technique. For our last shape, we're going to do something with more of a diminished feel. Now, it's a little more difficult in some ways, but in other ways it's actually easier. We're essentially mirroring our left hand with our right hand, so we have a level of symmetry that makes this exercise a little easier. So I'm just going to play this pattern very, very slow. We're at the same starting position, E string on the 8th fret. Just watch my fingers and see where I'm going with it. First note, second note, third note, fourth note, fifth note, sixth note, seventh note, eighth note. Remember, it's that pull off. Our 9th note. Our 10th note. Our 11th note. Remember, we're creating that minor third sound with that one. We're using our middle finger because, again, this is our launching point for the rest of the arpeggio on the way down. Okay, that is our 12th note, 13th note, got that pull off there, our 14th note, and then finally our 15th note. Just like that. Well, there you go, everyone. I really hope you enjoyed this intro to tapping. If you want to hear more bass tapping goodness, I highly recommend checking out Allegaeon's last record, Apoptosis. There's a really fun tapping intro to that record that I think you guys might enjoy. I also want to thank Jared Smith from the band Archspire for talking with us today. As always, please like and subscribe to this channel, and whatever you do, keep shredding.